As I walked through the UNC Acton Art Museum, I examined the works of art that lined the walls until I reached a piece that made me chuckle. The piece caught my eye because it pictured a man trying to sell a hulky man a pair of pants that were too small. The piece was an etching named The Bargain by the 19th century visual artist Hugh Pierce Botts. I observed that this etching was produced in 1936 during the Great Depression, a time of struggle. This deep and negative economic impact dramatically affected employment and higher education, causing hopelessness to rise in the U.S. The shading and the setting in Hugh Pierce Botch's etching, The Bargain, evoke the dreariness of the Great Depression, but the action in the scene makes us laugh. This piece helps us realize that even though people during the Great Depression didn't have money, they were still human and wanted comfort and joy. Hugh Botts uses a humorous scenario in the hopes to evoke some kind of comfort about the hard times they currently lived in. The etching is of a salesman holding out a pants leg to a hokey man's leg with the Manhattan Bridge and two men in the background. A significant humorous aspect of this piece is that the pants are clearly too small for the hokey man he is bargaining with. The hokey man doesn't seem to notice, cluttered from what is obvious. He seems to be considering actually buying the pants as he lets the salesman put the pants up against his legs. The pants are obviously not worth his money as they won't fit. The salesman enthusiastically tries to elude the Hulk man and bargain about something that isn't worth the money. This scene represents the economic struggle that existed at the time and the deceit the economic depression brought about in people. The humorous ordeal depicted in The Bargain comes from the difficult economic period portrayed by the details of this piece. The darker shading of the people helped display the two men as the most important part of the piece. The shading represents the Great Depression that has engulfed the two men. The corrupt salesman trying to sell the pants that are too small for the hokey man, and the gullible hokey man that considers buying the pants unaware that they aren't worth his money. The Manhattan Bridge is also shaded darker than the rest of the piece, but somewhat lighter than the two bargaining men. The bridge represents a great architectural structure built during a time of prosperity and advancement, before extreme economic instability. The shading of the bridge symbolizes how the Great Depression halted the economic ability to build structures such as the Manhattan Bridge. The two men in the background significantly differ in contrast from the rest of the piece. They embody the less affected Americans who are aware of this form of deceit. The men are lingering, showing that the salesman presumably already tried selling them the pants the shaded men are bargaining about. As witnesses of the bargain, they also represent the American people watching their country deteriorate before their eyes. Differences in shading are utilized by the bargain to relay the repercussions of the Great Depression. The humorous scene allows the author to elicit laughter during a time of struggle, and the differences in shading of this urban genre assist in illustrating this time of struggle. This work of art represents a current hardship while using the humor to provide distraction. It allows for the flaws of people to be seen in a humorous way. Hugh Pierce Botts created an etching that looks at a difficult situation and manipulates the situation to evoke positive emotions without the use of words.